Hey everybody, how's it going? Today we're going to look at a special guitar to me. This is the Ibanez RG120. So when I was a kid, we didn't have Guitar Center in the city that I grew up in. We had one local little guitar store, and they were an anti-Fender shop, which I thought was kind of funny. I guess they couldn't get the deal with Fender, so they only sold like Ibanez and Gibson and stuff like that. And then I remember one day Guitar Center announced that they were going to build a store in my city. And I was really excited about it. I only owned one guitar at the time. It was my 2002 Squier Affinity, and we've done a video on that, a Strat. And I really liked that guitar, and I was just getting into it. Like, I was just getting into the guitar to where I kind of understood what I was doing and stuff like that, and I'd only ever known 3 single coils and, you know, that kind of stuff. I hadn't ever really thought about owning more than one guitar. You know, I still had that mindset of like, that's my guitar. Like, I have that guitar. My guitar is that guitar. Because, you know, we grow up watching these artists and they all have their, like, signature guitar. So in your head as a kid, you're like, Jimi Hendrix just has one white Strat. Eddie Van Halen just has the striped red Frankenstein. Angus Young only has the Gibson SG. So, you know, I had that mindset like, Jake has the red Squier Strat. So this Guitar Center opened, and I remember I waited in line for it to open. The radio was there, and it was like a big deal for our city. And the doors open, and I walk in, and right when you walked in, there was this display. And on this display were all these Ibanez guitars. And there was a red one, a blue one, a black one, and I think a white one. And I remember they were ridiculously cheap. They were like $50 or $60 because it was like the doorbuster for the new store. And I remember I saw a black one on there, and I thought I could have two. I could have 2 guitars. I happened to have money with me, so I bought one. Sometime, you know, along the way, I ended up either selling it or losing it, as so many of us do. But recently on Facebook Marketplace, what did I find? Just like the one that I had from my childhood. This is the Ibanez RG120. Now, by today's standards, it's probably nothing special. It's nothing that's any different from any other entry-level sort of super Strat guitar. But to me at the time, you know, I mean, I had these 2 humbuckers. And they were humbuckers, which even that alone was a big deal to me, being a kid that just had 3 single coils. The idea of a humbucker was just this really amazing concept. And this has 2 of them. Isn't that crazy? And if you put the switch in the middle, they're both on. And that's just so amazing to me. And I remember, you know, throughout my childhood with this guitar, it was so easy to play compared to my Squier Strat. And I never really understood why. My friends would comment the same thing. Man, your Ibanez is so easy to play, man. Yeah, okay, cool. You know, I didn't get it. I didn't understand. Whatever. That was probably 20 years ago that happened. So here I am. I got another one. And I thought, it couldn't be as good as I remember, right? Well, it kind of is. And now with the knowledge that I have about guitars and tech and stuff like that, I can tell you why. And I can tell you why probably the most affordable secondhand Ibanez RG is worth buying. So let's get right into it and talk about what this guitar is and what it's made of. So here it is, the Ibanez RG120. Do a quick pan here. So what is it? Well, it is not a Geo, but it's kind of built like one, but it has things about it that make it better than a Geo. I'm very surprised that this exists at all, considering how brands want to distance themselves from their cheaper products. And this one is definitely a cheaper product. But they put Ibanez and it's RG on the headstock, which is pretty crazy. So let's start at the bottom and go up. So this is an agathis wood body. This is a Fat 20 trim, 2-point trim, very nice trim, I should say. Intonation is adjusted by what looks like Floyd Rose screws. They're not, they're just intonation adjustment. You've also got your Ibanez logo on the trim, and it's hard to see, but these are actually all stamped Ibanez. So little things like this, I believe, are why it's not a Geo. It's a reason why I think it's such a good guitar. You've got master volume, master tone. You've got a 3-way blade switch. Your humbuckers are Infinity 4 and Infinity 3. These are crazy hot pickups. I would compare it to like the pickups in the old Peavies, like the Peavey Predator that we reviewed previously. It sort of reminds me of a Super Distortion or an Evolution, in a good way. Now, due to how hot they are, I think this is like 17 ohm or something like that. It is a bit microphonic in the sense that when you talk into it, you can hear yourself. So wax potting would fix that, I'm sure. If we move up, we've got a beautiful neck, great fretwork. The fingerboard is rosewood. It has 24 frets. The radius, this is a Wizard 2 neck, which is 15 3/4. So very flat, very easy to play. If we go up here, you do have a black plastic nut, and you've got some tuners. There's nothing etched on the back of them. There's your Ibanez logo, RG series. I believe this one was made in Indonesia. So they were made in Korea from 2001 to 2002, and Indonesia from 2002 until it was discontinued in 2012. This model was exclusive to Guitar Center. The RG120 was a house model only made for Guitar Center. So this wasn't something you could buy anywhere else unless you bought it secondhand. And typically these things are dirt cheap. So is it good? Is it worth buying? If you see one for 60 bucks on Marketplace, which is usually about what they're going for, if not less nowadays, should you buy one? Well, let's go ahead and do a sound sample now, and I'll tell you what I think. You can judge it for yourself, how it sounds, and then at the end, I'll tell you what I recommend. Alright, so here we go. We're going to start on a clean setting. We're going to use the PV Viper tube today. We're going to put this on a twin setting, which kind of emulates a twin reverb a little bit. A little bit of delay, a little bit of reverb. Let's start on the neck. I think that sounds absolutely amazing, clean. Let's put it on the bridge. So, you know, on a clean setting, you're going to get a little bit of that spanky sound, which is pretty cool. Let's see. Let's go ahead and put it on like a plain Marshall kind of a sound. JTM. Sounds alright there. Let's go down to the bridge though. Bridge with overdrive with this guitar sounds really good. I think that sounds pretty great. One last setting we're going to check out. This is a 6505 setting with delay and reverb. Sounds amazing. And then we'll go down to the bridge, of course. so what do I think about this Ibanez RG120? I think it sounds really, really good. The neck pickup has got a lot of articulation. I mean, it has a lot of bass, but it also has a lot of articulation. I mean, it sounds really, really good clean. And when you get into that dirty kind of stuff, it adds that kind of choked out kind of sound that you would expect out of a neck humbucker. On the bridge, it's, you know, it's fire and flames, you know? There are some of you who would buy a pickup, and if it sounded like this pickup, you'd be happy with it. Now, it's no Seymour Duncan or anything like that, but I'm serious. It reminds me of the Evolution by DiMarzio or a Super Distortion. Honestly, if you can find this guitar for less than $100, it's probably worth it just for the pickups. But on top of that, it's incredibly easy to play. The tremolo is super easy to use and super responsive. It returns to pitch pretty well, and it's just easy to play. It's got that flat neck. It says Ibanez on it. It's not a Geo, so if you're about what's on your headstock, this will tick that box for you as well. It doesn't have a Floyd, but it's one of the better non-Floyd tremolos that I've ever really experienced. You really can't go wrong with a good vintage Fender style tremolo, but this 2-point trem on this Ibanez is really good. It's the real deal. So I do recommend you pick this up if you find one for $100 or less, or really whatever it's worth to you. You know, you can overpay, right? Everybody can overpay. You can get overcharged for stuff. You can go a little bit too crazy with your prices. But at the end of the day, is it worth it to you? I would tell you that if your budget doesn't really matter much to you and you're in the market for a similar sound to what you just heard, pay what that sound is worth to you. Pay what good fretwork and a very flat fingerboard is going to do for you. Pay for what a non-Geo Ibanez is going to do for you. One that's discontinued, one that's got a very good trem system. I mean, the body's kind of boring, but other than that, I mean, really, that just gives you more freedom to do stuff to it without feeling too bad, right? This is the kind of guitar that a modder would love. But as for me, I'm not changing anything about it. I'm leaving it bone stock. I really like it, and it does remind me a lot of my childhood, and it brings back some really good memories. So thank you very much for watching. I very much appreciate it. Please like, please subscribe. If you want to buy anything from Fender, I've got a link in the description. If you buy stuff with that link, it'll help the channel. You can sign up for Fender Play free 14 days if you use my link. And you can also buy stuff using my Amazon affiliate link. Please follow us on social media, Big Jake Music on Twitter, and bigjake.music on Instagram. Thank you very much. Appreciate all of you. Have a good one, and keep on rocking.